Good evening, folks, and welcome. Yes, I'm wearing my stripy boxers. Look at that. Wearing my stripy hipsters I bought from Aldi the other week. Yep. It's yeah, you could call it electronics in your underpants, but does anyone really have electronics in their underpants? I suppose you would if you're an Android, wouldn't you? Anyway, let's see if this is working. Oh, it is. I need a fucking shave. There we go. There we are. Right. Tonight we're going to be doing the dance set Bermuda, but before I do, I thought I may as well just quickly do this. This is my Portadine. I thought I may as well very quickly knock this on the head and get it done, because it's already out of its case, and why not get it done. So we're going to start with a recap. Take the capacitors out. Get the solder, the main parts of the solder off them. And then we can bend the tabs in. The capacitor should just fall out. Get the main, move that speaker out. Oops. And that's what happens, you see, it falls over. Move that speaker wire out of the way. Well, not speaker wire, output transformer wire. And we're going to do all the joints on the valve sockets on this as well, because I'm not happy with them. So we're going to do a bit of work on this. That tone capacitor there can be desoldered, so that's getting replaced. That can be desoldered. That'll just drop out probably because it's foot anyway. It's loose on one side. There we go. It just fell out. Right. Well, this was capable of standing up on its own a minute ago, and now it won't. Fucking stupid thing. There we go. Right. Let's get this other capacitor here desoldered. Right. So if I now get me, bloody hell, this is a pain. Oh, it rests on the smoother, we're alright. I get me, what I want to do is get the smoother out of it and just bend it with the pliers. That's one undone. Go for the next one. Just put the pliers on, heat them up. Not the pliers, heat the joint up. And all we do is we just, that's that one. Then all we do is we might not even need to use the pliers. I might be able to just push it with the soldering iron. Yeah, you just push them away with the soldering iron. There we go. Now this one's still soldered, so we need to just get the solder off it. There we are. That capacitor should just pull now. Famous last words. Well, there's one. There we are. Pulls out nice and clean and no damage to the traces. And that will stand up on its own. So basically what we need to do next is put our capacitor tester on this and test it and see. Right, so One is 40 microfarad. Trouble is, it doesn't tell you the fucking numbers. Right. So what we'll do, we'll connect that one to there. In fact, the way to look at it, you can't tell now. One, two, and negative. July 57. This capacitor was made, so that basically dates the record player. So what I'll do, I'll start with connecting them two to there. 21.50. That's low. 44.8. 18 rather. Open circuit low capacitance, so there's nothing on that one. So if I now connect that to there, and then connect to there, open circuit, so it's now on there. So that one is 21. And that one is 21. And that's 44. So connecting them both up in parallel, which is what I've done. Now if I go to there, 21, go to there, nothing, there, it parallels them. So that one is, that's negative. That one's 43.2 UF. And that's 21. 43. Right. So, what denotes the fucking... Oh, hang on, there's a groove in it here. There's a groove in it here. So, that one wasn't used. Because it went in that way. Yeah, that wasn't used, so it would have gone in that way. Yeah, so pin 1A is where the groove is, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, one of them isn't used. So pin 1, and it's monitoring there, nothing. So that's got to be the ground. This one here, yeah, this fat one here is the ground. But there again, I can check the ground by holding that there. Open circuit. 44. 43. Right. So fat one is ground, and that one there isn't used. That one's there if you want to parallel them, because if you connect that one to there and then go to here, no it doesn't. I wonder if the cutting thing's reformed. I doubt it. Nothing. 44. 43. So they are a bit out, but I wouldn't want to use it. 40 UF at 300 volt working. And negative is the pin. The negative is the wide one. Because that's how it went in. And this pin here wasn't used. That pin there isn't used. So it uses that one, don't use that one, that's no connection. So let's get some new replacements. Whoops. They're 33. I've actually got some 50s. I bought some 50s, well the 47s. 47 UF. So I'll put them fuckers in because they're nearer. So we'll put 47s in it because they're nearer the mark. So we'll put 47s in and we'll test the new components and see what the test has. I don't expect them to test perfectly high because they're 42, which is okay. And 40. So they're that's 7 microfarad less than what it should be. Which is not a problem because they want to see 40s anyway, so that's good enough. So these are the negatives. We don't have to worry about fucking getting negatives down them fucking holes, do we? And one of them's not used. So we don't have to worry too much about getting fucking negatives. You know, this is probably the easiest one. Get these nice. Probably the easiest one I'm ever gonna fucking fit. I don't even have to strap these fucking negatives together. Alright. That's a bit of the insulation. Right, I don't even have to strap these fucking negatives together. The hole's that fucking big, you pass a fucking bus through that bastard. So basically, what we'll do, we'll pop our first one in. And they go flush with the board as well, which is brilliant. We'll sit flush with the board. That's the first one. Then the second one. Go. It would have been nice if I could have had negative there, but this one's not going to fit flush with the board, unfortunately. Well, it might if I turn that around a little bit. Put that there, because I need a bit of a gap to get this one in. So now what we do, we pop this one into here, and then just kink it over slightly. There we go. Push that down there, and them two. There we go. Just there, we can clip them. Can rest that on them. Now where's that piece of solder I had before? One. There we go. Make sure we're soldered right across. There we are. There we go. That's neatly done. Yep. Get the clippers and whoa. Just lift that one up a little bit so we can get the clippers down onto it without damaging the board. There we go. Lift this up a bit. Oh. Just tack that one down again. There we go. That's got it. Now, back under it. Alright, it's only going to take a couple of minutes, so I may as well do it. Solder this one into place. There we are. That's that. That's the recap practically done. And for this one, for this next one, we need to remember that the positive is this side. So what I'll do, I'll get a tool, just so I don't forget. I'll get a tool. I think the positive is that side, let me just check. Yep. Positive is this. Let's find where the capacitor actually is. Yep. Positive is this side, so we there we go. Got a little mark there for positive. It's in pretty bad shape, this amp, so there we go. Needs all the help it can get, really. So let's get the capacitor. Let's test that one. What voltage are we? 50 microfarads, 25 volts. So we can put a 47 in there. Not one of them fucking big ones. But I'll get one out of stock in a minute. Yeah, 50 microfarad at 25 volts. You can put a 47 in. 42. Yeah, that's a bit down, but the ESR on that is 4 ohms. 4.1 ohms, so we don't want that. That's bad, really bad news. That's higher than a that's higher than a hippie on the third day of an open air festival. We don't want it that high. We want a 47 UF. So I'm just trying to quickly knock this out, just to give you something different, really, because all you've had the last few days is dance sets, and I'm pretty sure you'd like something different. So I mean, I don't mind. I'll do anything anytime. I'm not bothered. But you know, it's doing the same thing every night. Well, now my box of 47s is on the bench somewhere. There they are. Right, these are my 47 UFs. ECL80. Oh yeah, I know what that's from. Right, so if I put my rather large derriere back on the chair, now let's find a capacitor suitable. 47 at 200 volts, that's too much. You'd only put anything that big in it. .63 volts at 47 UF. And put that one in it, that'll be okay. That'll last the fucking record player, that bastard. Let's see what it actually says it is. We also need a 5 UF as well. They're not a 5, 0.5. .8, 46.8, just under 47, and it's 0.76 ohms. That's good enough. Certainly better than what was taken out of there. It should that should improve the amplifier. Right, so positive went to where I made the witness mark, which was this side, and negative goes over to the other. I've got to replace a resistor in this as well, because there's a resistor burnt up. So I need to put a fucking resistor in the bastard and all. Let's see what we're looking at here. These two holes here. So positive this side. So positive. Hang on. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah. Positive went here. No, that's hard to fucking get in. Wow. Not the fucking easiest one to fit. There we go. Yeah, because that's where I scraped it there. Positive. Yeah, we're correct. Right, so bring them over there. That's it. Stick that on there because we can use that to hold it up. It says I want to run the risk of pulling the knobs off and damaging the knobs. We don't have to. There we go. Solder this. There we go. Just quickly go around the valve pins. That one doesn't matter, there's nothing going to it. Nothing going to that one, that doesn't matter. There's now going to them, we don't need to fucking solder them. Yes. Check the recce pins, yeah, the ones on the recce are okay. You've only got that one, and these ones here are your 2HT going in. Just dab that, yeah, the rest of the pins are obviously not used. Right, let's get our 5 UF, sorry 0.5 UF. Get our 0.5, put our 0.5, new 0.5 in. There we go. This has got a piece of wire going to it, so I might have to extend that because they used, there again I might not, oh I might not, might go through, so let's see. Right, whoops. Yeah, it's gone in perfect. Yeah, don't even have to put any heat shrink on that because it's gone in so perfect. It's right. Now let's just get a fresh piece of solder. I'm running out of this good solder to get hold of some more. There we go, I need a little bit. And then I've got to try and determine what that resistor is. And to remember to clip all the cap leads. There we go. I've got to wire it, oh it's to the motor. That had me a bit worried. Thought we had a wire that had broken off from somewhere there. Right, so we'll clip this lead here. piece of that wire ended up in the fucking speaker. Was it? It might have hit the cone and bounced out, but no, there it is. It just fell out. There we go. And that is, to all intents and purposes, recapped. Valve pins look very clean in that. No corrosion. Valve pins look nice actually. So we've got nice new capacitors in. Let's clip this on, this power lead off because we're going to be putting a new one on. So we'll clip that off. Because you know me. Now what I need to do is find out what value that resistor is, and I don't think the resistor's burnt out completely because it was working, the record player was working to a point. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just, so what I'm going to do really, I'm going to just interrogate the capacitor with my meter. Resistor, sorry, with my meter, and use that as a start because I don't know what model this is because there's no information on the record player itself, so I don't know what manual I should be looking at. So it could be any of them, and I don't want to spend the rest of the week going through all them Portstein manuals. I'd rather just check these leads. Yeah, we're working. Hang on. Right, we're working. Now let's test the resistor. And we want to be looking, this comes off the HT, so $340 ohms. Yeah, I'd say that's about right for that. So we'll put a 340 ohms in it. I'd say it's about right for that circuit. So I shall go away and find a 330 ohm to replace that dodgy one. And I'm going to have a cigarette before I do that. And I know somewhere. There's me fags. Where do I put the fucking remote for the camera? There's the remote for the telly. Right, the remote for the camera is not knocked onto the floor, have I? No. Sometimes I spend 20 minutes looking for it. There it is, underneath the capacitor tester. Hi folks, and good evening, stroke good morning. And let me just find my other remote. It was here before, I remember seeing it, but where did I put it? That's the question. It's not there, it's here somewhere, so I can turn around and you can look at me. Not that you'd want to, but move that bottle of detergent there for a minute. I had the remote before. There it is. As plain as the nose on my face, eh folks? Right, there we go. Whoops. Zoom out a little bit if I can. I'm a bit close there. Whoa. There we go. Right. What I'm going to do tonight, I'm going to do a bit of a questions and answers. I've never done one, so excuse the dog hairs on me t-shirt. He gets everywhere, my dog. Tonight I thought I'd do a questions and answers, like I said, and I know I need a shave. Right, one of the questions I've been asked is, how do you get the removable head shells off the Garrard arms when they've been there? You know, like the RC210 and stuff like that, and the earlier ones with the Bakelite heads on them and the cast arms. Well, it's very simple. They've been on there for many years and they can be difficult to get off. What I generally find is you have to hold the arm, the main part of the arm, you have to hold that. I would suggest clipping it onto its post, onto its rest, and just jiggle. Just jiggle and pull at the same time, and it will be tight because it's been in there for all them years, and they're designed to be a tight fit. There are no screws as far as I know. I've never come across any screws, so if you've got one that's different, then yeah, let me know. I've never come across any screws in them. Usually just a good jiggle and a good pull gets them off. Capacitors. Why do I replace these if they're perfectly good? Well, I replace them because purely for reliability, and they might be good today, but they might not be good next week. They're 50 odd years old, like this one's 1956 the date on this one, so that's why I do that. That's why they get replaced. What else can we cover? Turntable idler wheels. We'll talk about them for a minute as well. Basically, your turntable idler wheel does actually go shiny on the edges, because that's the rubber starting to break down. And basically the way around that is to, the way I find, is to rotate, is to get a nut and bolt the same size as the idler, the same size as the hole in the idler, the bushing, or the brass bearing if you like, and pass it through, put the nut on it, tighten it up, and put it into a drill press if you've got one. Set the drill press on a fairly low speed, and then just hold a piece of emery paper to it to take off the glaze. Then when you've done that, get some rubber renew, which is about 11 or 12 pound a bottle, but be very careful when you're using it, and then just give it a clean with that. And the motor shaft you can clean with IPA, isopropyl alcohol. That covers that. The mechanism, we'll talk a bit about the mechanism. This applies to most decks, nothing in particular, whether it be BSR, Calaro, Garrard, Joule, whatever. I've not done a Joule on the channel yet, but I've got one coming up soon. I'm not sure how soon, but there is one going to come up eventually. I do own one, so I have got one to do when I get to it. I've also got an HMV Stereo Master 2324, I think it is. That's coming up on the channel as well, to be recapped and sorted, with a Garrard, I think it's a TC3000 auto changer in it. And yeah, so if you've got any questions on any of that I've just mentioned, then yeah, by all means ask me. The question on the removable Garrard arms, head shells, that was asked to me a couple of weeks ago, but I had this video in mind, so I planned on talking about it now. rather than just reply to one individual on the comments. I think it's easier to do it this way. Right. Let's talk about some of the tools that I use. I always use, because I think they're great, Antex soldering irons. Always use. This is a, I can't remember what this is now. I think it's, should tell me actually. Where's my glasses? No, it doesn't. It used to. Most of the writing's gone off. The information that used to tell you is gone. But I think this is a... Oh no, it tells me there, I just can't see it. Yeah, this is a 30 watt. Yeah, this is a 30 watt iron, which is great for doing valve stuff. It's all you need. I have a hot air rework station, which I use primarily for removing turntables and other seized mechanism components that have been glued together with grease. And the most frequent tool I use, and everybody should have one, is your multimeter. This one I use is a Mastech, and I've had this meter for many years, and it's always provided really good service. I've got a meter, I've got another meter there, another one in the drawer. I've got my old Avol 7 meter there as well. But I always go back to this is my go-to, this is my, if you like, daily driver. It's what I go to every time because it's accurate and it does the job. And you know, I think I paid about £40 or £50 for this when I purchased it. It could do temperature sensing, but I've since lost the temperature sensing probe. And doesn't do capacitors as far as I know. It'll do transistors, but I never use it for that. The next thing we'll move on to is this little instrument here. You've heard me mention this, and you've seen this in my hand a few times. And this is the Atlas. This is the Peak Atlas ESR model ESR 60. It's been updated now to a newer model, but I've had this one for a very long time. I got this when they first came out, and this is great for testing electrolytic capacitors, which is what it's for. It tells you on the it tells you on the front of it what it's actually for. Capacitors, capacitance, and in series resistance meter with automatic discharge function. It will discharge capacitors, providing you haven't got about 400 or 500 volts in them. If you've got a couple of volts in it, it'll discharge it, but any more than that, no, I never use it to do that. And if we go to the other tester, the other capacitor tester that I've got, this video is really just basically a rundown of the actual tools that I use. You know, always keep your tools in the protective cases. The reason why that's out is because it was used tonight on this Portadyne amp. But always keep your tools in protective cases wherever possible. Your tools will last a lot longer. They'll be protected. You know, and when you pay a lot for your tools, you expect to be, you know, you really should be looking after them. We'll get this little yellow one out here. This yellow one, find somewhere now to put that case for a minute. Put it there, it should be alright. Everything falls everywhere. Right, and this tester here is, I actually did a review on these for Jay over at Jay's Vintage Junk. You know, Jay's a very good friend of mine, and I did an overview on these for him, but not everybody's seen that, not everybody's looking for it, so, but that was really aimed at him personally. Right, this one will do automatic passive. This is an automatic. This is a Peak Atlas LCR model LCR 40, and this is an automatic passive component analyzer. And you cannot discharge a capacitor with this; it will burn it out. It even tells you, warning: avoid charged or voltages. So you can't put anything into this. Now this is good because it will test speakers. It will test them as an inductor, and it will tell you what the value is in resistance as well. It will test it most types of inductors, well, all types I presume. Although very rarely use it for that. It will test resistors, and it will also test capacitors. If I put a capacitor on this, I'll put an electrolytic on it. No, I won't. I'll put this. This is meant to be 0.05 microfarad. This might read it in picofarad, but this is what I've taken out the portadyne because I've replaced it, because I've done a recap on that amp. So what does it tell us it actually is? This was the tone correction capacitor. And that's telling us it's 81.2 nanofarad. And the test frequency is 1 kilohertz. And you know, that's how that works. If I test an electrolytic with it, it will test electrolytics, I believe. Although I don't use it for that because I've got the ESR tester for that. But I believe this will test electrolytics, and it doesn't matter which way you connect them. Well, I know this will test electrolytics because I've seen Jay do it. It doesn't matter which way you connect the capacitor, this figures it out for you. So this capacitor is 50 mic. I know it doesn't read that because I've had it on the ESR. It's reading 45.6 on the electrolytic, and the test frequency is DC, obviously because it's electrolytic. And there we go. That's basically that tester. I also have I can't get to it right now, but I do have a transistor checker made by a semiconductor checker made by the same company, and a thyristor tester. And the semiconductor tester is brilliant. You can test rectifier, you can test diodes with it, you can test transistors, pretty much. You can't test ICs, but pretty much anything with 3 legs on or 2 legs on you can test. Even MOSFETs. You can even test FETs with it. Yeah, brilliant. And I highly recommend, if you're in the budget, if your budget allows, then you should think about picking up something like this, because it's certainly worth having. It can certainly pull you out the shit. You know, if your multimeter can't do capacitors, get something like that that can. Right, I also have up here, I have a variac, I have a bench power supply. Let's see if we can turn the camera around and show you some of the other tools. If we can. Oh, that's the wrong way. See if we can show you some of the other tools that I actually have. Whoops. Right, there's my variac with the two speakers and boxes on the top. That's great for old stuff that you're not sure about. Then I've got a power supply that's going to be replaced soon because I've got a current limited one to go in there, which I got given off my friend Mick the other week. Next to that, I've got the signal tracer, which is not really a signal tracer. It's a null. It's a visual null indicator, but I use it as a signal tracer. I have a homemade probe that I use, and that there with the free, with the digits lit up is my solder station. It's got an orange iron with it because the original iron, believe it or not, the original iron, the actual body of the iron melted. So I bought that iron and I took the circuit board out of the original and put it into this one, and it now works a treat without melting. And there's the heat gun for it there, which is great for getting stiff mechanisms apart. Let's go to my shelf. Whoops. And excuse the state of my workshop. Right, and there's my shelf, and up there's my other test instruments. I just don't want to stand up and reach. I've got a watt meter there for checking low wattage things like transistor radios and valve radio. You check with the wattage to make sure that you're getting the right amount, which has an impedance selector and stuff on it. We've got an LG oscilloscope here, which is handy to have. AVO 7 meter. I've got Mike's old, my mate Mike gave me that. That's his old signal generator, which you know, they're not very accurate then, but they get you by. They get the job done if it needs it. I've got my function generator here. I've got my frequency counter, and I've got my bench meter here. But I very rarely use that because it's manual range and I can't be arsed reaching out. That's why I use the Mustec. And I also have a digital storage USB oscilloscope, which I sometimes use in conjunction with my laptop. And that just about covers it. I've got a dim light tester here, a dim bulb tester here. I need to put a new socket on there for the bulb because I broke it, so I need to sort that out. And that's pretty much it. You know, that's Steve's radio there. It's got stuff on it, but don't worry, Steve, it's not getting scratched up. There's stuff underneath that to stop it getting scratched. I will never let your radio get damaged. It's up there for safety. It is going to be moved because I'm going to sort this out over the next couple of days. It's come down. Oh, that's the top. Up the top there is where I keep my chemicals and greases and oils and stuff like that. And then we're back down to where we normally are on the bench. And I'm in my striped underpants. I'm sporting my striped underpants, look. What they call me hipsters I got from Aldi the other week. I'm in my Aldi undies. And my Floor Bright t-shirts. Anyway, you know, but that's pretty much it. And the other thing I would recommend, I can't show you because the camera's on it. You might notice that I actually move you up and down, and I use this device here, which was very cheap. It was about 25 quid, and what it is, it's basically a motorised tripod mount, and I can move the tripod, I can move the camera without touching it, up or down, left or right. You know, that's fully down, and I can go fully up. I never do because the camera's a bit heavy for it, but it does the job, you know. And there's me two DS there. My daughter got me for my birthday last year. Was it last year or the year before? I do like a game of Mario now and again. And if we go around here, these are my, whoops, these are my component boxes where my components are kept. Resistors, capacitors, odds and sods, that kind of thing. And you know, I've got drawers down here in front of the bench. See, I've left a drawer open there because I've had a capacitor out of there earlier, and I don't think I go any further that way. No, that's as far as it'll go, and it'll go equally the same distance the other way. I'm not going to go right round. I don't want to show you the state of my workshop, but you know, yeah. But yes, feel free to leave any comments, especially on my stripy underpants. I know there are people that will comment on that. But you know, I use a big screen to view the camera so that I can see whether something's in shot or not. Down here it's all needs sorting out. This is just junk really down here, apart from that case that belongs to a mate of mine. And like I say, I've got space under here to store things. I've got this cupboard here, this drawer here, I've got another cupboard here, I've got another set of drawers with 5 drawers in it. This has got 3 drawers in it, so plenty of room to store things. And I like to think that my workshop is pretty well equipped. Certainly the stuff I deal with, it's certainly well equipped to deal with what I want to do. And you know, but you don't need all the stuff I've got. You only need, you know, you only need a little bit of the basics. You know, you need, you know, the main thing, like I say, the main thing you need is a test meter. You know, a digital one that tests maybe capacitors, if that's what you want to do with your test meter. You know, I mean, if I'd have seen one at the time I bought that, I probably would have gone for it. But then again, I don't regret buying that meter, because it's been a bloody good meter, and it still is. And I bought that in the early 2000s, and I've still got it, and I've never ever had a problem, apart from just changing the battery once every now and again. It doesn't like being left on. There's no auto off. It doesn't like being left on, that meter. It likes to be turned off. But otherwise your battery just runs flat after a few days. You know, and basically that's it. Solder, I use leaded solder. I don't use lead free. I use lead solder. You know, I've got plug sockets along here so I can plug things in. I've got a set of I have a set of electronic scales for weighing tone arms, for checking the tone arm pressure, and I also have an original Garrard stylus checking tool, and believe it or not, I've checked this against the electronic scale one, and it actually more or less correlates. It's not bad. It actually tells you. You know, you put your stylus in the pan. You put your stylus in the pan there, and you press that lever with your finger, and you know, you read it on the scale down the front there. Simple, but effective. And you know, well, you press it down there, and you read it through this little window. Sorry, at the top here. There's a little indicator in there. And when that indicator's in the middle, that's how heavy your stylus is. That's how much pressure you're putting on it. The Garrard stylus pressure gauge for micro groove pickups. And there's actually 2 holes in the front here. I don't know what they're for, because it just says made in England and product patent. I think them there. I think them holes. I think they're just. I'm not sure what they are. They're not adjusters, because I've had this apart. Because there's a little spring in here, and the spring popped off once, so I had to undo it to hook the spring back on. But you know, there's 2 holes in the back as well. Oh, no, they do. They go right through. and they hold the mechanism together. That's what they do. They go through and hold the mechanism together. Basically, because everything pivots, you see. But really handy tool if you haven't got a digital scale. And even if you have got a digital scale, it's also nice to use an old tool now and again and get a second opinion. But I just thought I'd do a questions and answers, a Q&A video, and maybe a little talk about some of the tools I do use. And, you know, but the main tool that you should have in your arsenal is safety. You know, you should always do it safely and never ever take a chance. Never. Because I read an article once about a guy who took a record player apart, not dissimilar to this one, and he switched it on and stuck his head through it. He removed the inspection panel, stuck his head in where stuck his head and had a look while he turned it on, and the capacitor flew out and took his eye with it. So, you know, safety above everything. You know, if you're going to do it, you have to do it safely. And I can't emphasise that enough. I mean, I sleep well in my bed at night, knowing that people are playing records or listening to radios that I've actually done, safe in the knowledge that it's safe. You know, that includes 3 amp fuses in the plugs, 3 core power leads where required, even if they weren't fitted by the manufacturer. If there's an isolation transformer, there's every chance you can put a 3 core power lead in. If there's no isolation transformer and you've got one of your wires going straight to the chassis, then no, you can't do that. Well, I think you can. I think you can do it through a bloody big high value capacitor. High voltage capacitor, but I wouldn't want to do it. I just, when I get them sort of things in, I just thingy with them. I just change the power cord, so there's a brown in one side and a blue in the other, and I always send the blue to chassis and the brown goes to positive, or live if you like. And that's how I always do it, because I think it's the safest way to do it in them particular units, because at least if the plug ever gets broke or comes off, then at least they know, everybody with common knowledge in the UK know that brown goes to the fuse. It's brown to the right and blue to the left, looking at the open side of the plug with the plug open. So, you know, nobody in the UK should ever get that wrong. So that's the way I like to do it. But if there's an isolation transformer, there's every likelihood that you're safe to earth it, as far as I'm aware. If there's any points where people think I'm wrong, then yes, you're welcome to comment on them. That's fine. But I think I've covered everything extensively. You know, I tend to, during the course of repairs, I do tend to go through a lot of capacitors, high voltage electrolytics. I do go through a lot of them, and I do spend quite a bit of money buying them in. And because I go through a lot of them, not only for my own repairs, but for other repairs for other people as well. Like I say, even if these things don't need changing, even if they still test good, I still change them. 'Cause yeah, they're good today, might not be good next week or even tomorrow. I could show the customer the record player working, and the capacitor could fail when I turn it on, so I change them, which I think is a safe bet. There's some of my own stuff which has still got some of them in, but that's my own stuff that I'm not going to sell, that I'm keeping for myself as part of my collection. Some of my tape recorders and some of my record players, I've still got them. But if I was to decide to sell something, then yes, I would do a recap. I would change them and put modern ones in, some brand new ones in. But I always change the capacitor in the tone circuit. The red and black Plessy ones, them horrible red TOC things, I think they are. Changed those. Got some of them up here. I might give you an example. This is all the shit I pulled out of that stereo sound. When I did the stereo sounds, just bring the camera around, just bring you around a bit. You know, I need you all to face me for a minute. There we go. And we've got some of these red ones here, which are electrolytic. Some of these, which are electrolytic, but they're different to ordinary. You know, they're not like electrolytics that we know. They're not like modern axial electrolytics where this end is positive and this end would be negative. No, it's not. This end with the rubber grommet in, or whatever it is they've put in there, that's the negative end. This end here is the positive end. Sorry, this end here is the positive end, and you know they're horrible, these capacitors. I mean, they were all right in the day to get the job done, but 40 or 50 years on, and no, they need to be replaced. We've got these blue ones here. These are out the tone circuit of the stereo sound, out of the bass circuit, bass part of the tone control, and these actually still work and they're still in spec, but I changed them. Why? Because I don't want to go back to it again. These were the electrolytics out of the stereo sound. I replaced those as well because I don't want to go back to it, and I might want to sell that. In fact, I do want to sell that. I'm not going to keep that, and that's why I did that the way I did it. But you know, that's basically that. And you know, but that's all you need. Just a bit of common sense, a bit of, you know, yeah, just really a bit of common sense, a bit of you know, some basic tools. You don't need everything I've got. I recommend a lot of it though. I mean, pardon me, I mean, oscilloscopes you can pick up. I picked that LG up at the swap meet the very first time I went, and I paid £10 for it. Sorry, I paid £8. He wanted £10, and I said, what, a tenner? And he thought that I was whinging that the price was too high. I couldn't believe it was 10 quid. I was quite prepared to pay. He went, oh, go on and give me 8. Oh, give me 8 quid for it. And the first scope I bought, which was made by a company called Scopex, that was I think that was about 20 quid, 25 quid. I bought that off a television engineer up in Buxton. I went to pick it up, me and my mate Captain Pugwash, as I call him because he's short and fat. He drove me up there to go and get it, and within the first time I used that scope, it paid for itself. Because it helped me track down a fault that was in the sound, but it was in the power supply, but it could be heard in the sound, and it helped me track it down. And it took a lot of time off me looking, and you know, so it paid for itself in the fact it was useful. And the first time I used it in anger, and yeah, it got the job done. So I do recommend an oscilloscope. You don't have to buy one of these all singing, all dancing things. You buy whatever your wallet will allow. You know, pretty much any modern decent scope will do. Made within the last 20 or 30 years. Anything will do. Even some older stuff will do. If you're doing a lot of radios, and yeah, a signal generator, signal tracer. It takes a lot of the legwork out. Them little peak testers, they take a lot of the legwork out, and you know they give you a better than a good idea of the state of a capacitor or resistor. You know, really good, and you know, I will always buy stuff like that because them peak tools are made in Britain. I've spoke to the people who actually make them. I've had dealings with them. They're very good to deal with. Peak Electronics up in Buxton, here in the UK. They're very good people to deal with. In fact, they sent me too many instruments. By mistake, I contacted them, and he says, you know, could we give you something for you know, to reward your honesty? So I says, yeah, I says I could do with a couple of cases. So he sent me out a couple of cases for me instruments. Because I bought me instruments one at a time. If you buy them one at a time, you don't get a case. If you buy them two at a time, they put them in a case for you. And he says, you know, can we reward your honesty? So I said, yeah, I could do with a couple of cases. So he sent me a couple of cases for me instruments. You know, and really, really good people to deal with. The instruments are really good. I haven't been lied to by one yet. You know, so there we go. Anyway, if you've got any questions on that, then always ask me. If I've got anything incorrect, then yeah, very politely tell me that I'm incorrect and explain why I'm incorrect, and you know, we can then, you know, get the job done, so to speak. Anyway, folks, I'm going to end it here. Thank you very, very. Sorry there's been no fart in this video. I just haven't had a bout of flatulence tonight. I should have had a tin of baked beans. You know, I remember when I was about 14, I got arrested for a misdemeanour by the police. Well, you wouldn't get arrested by anyone else, would you? Anyway, and the sergeant said to me, he says, what did he say? He says, any allergies? Do you have any allergies? I said, yeah, baked beans. So he looked at me with baked beans. I said, yeah, make me fart. Anyway, he come from behind the counter and says to me, he said, bend over, and me like an idiot, I bent over. And he planted his size 10 Doc Martin, police issue Doc Martin boot right up my arsehole. You know when you've been kicked up the arse by a copper? Yeah, you know. Yeah, I got stopped once on a push bike by a copper. I says, I'm not talking to you. He says, why? I says, speaking to you is like having oral sex. One slip of the tongue, I'm in the shit. Anyway, I thought I'd throw a couple of jokes in there at the end. Have a bit of fun, you know, because it wouldn't be me otherwise, would it? But yeah, that's a bit of a look at some of the stuff I use. And, you know, thank you very much for watching, folks. And, you know, stay tuned because there's a dance at Bermuda coming up. And before that comes up, I've got an itchy foot. That's why I keep bending over. Look at that, I've got a right hair hole in the top of my head. I've got a video on this coming up. This is the amplifier out of a Portadyne. I've already recapped it, but you'll see all that on the video. You know, I don't need to talk about this. I've got to finish it off, but that's for that video. I'll save that for that video. Anyway, folks, you all take it easy and do it safely. Be safe. You know, most of all, importantly, be safe. Don't take chances. It ain't worth it. And I'll catch you all later, folks. And thank you very much for watching. Bye for now. Hi, folks, and welcome back. Whoops, wrong way. There we go. I'm going to do the last job on this. I'm going to do the last job on this Pt1 record player amplifier. I'm going to change the going to change the 330 ohm resistor. I'm going to replace it with that one. It should do the job. Should do the job. Just wait for the iron to warm up. Shouldn't take long for the iron. That's what I like about Antex irons. I've only just turned that on and we're already almost at operating temperature. So put that cup underneath that, it'll hold it up a bit higher for me. Now, the resistor is there, just behind the valve sockets. So just here. We always put the fucking wires where you'd rather not have them, don't we? There we go. There we go. Should be able to pull that out now. Yeah, one side it was lifted. Get me a little hooker under there. Right. Just find that, see if we can find that so we can examine it. Probably seen the end of that now. Yeah, that's gone to the fucking floor. Ain't gonna fucking find that. Drop down here somewhere, but yeah. Oh, no matter. No matter. Doesn't matter because it was fucked anyway. So what we'll do, we'll pop this new one in. Clean the ends of it first. I normally like to give them a bit of a scrape with a Stanley blade. Just gets out any tarnish off the legs. There we go. Give them a scrape with a Stanley blade and just gets any tarnish off. It allows the solder to stick to it better. So what we'll do now, we'll pop in the new resistor. see the other fucking hole. There it is. No, they weren't that far apart, were they? There's one of them in. Weren't that far apart. Right. There's the other one in. Push that down. Let's try and get that a bit fucking neater. A bit more level. Try and pull it across a bit so it looks like it's been put in by someone who knows what they're doing. So push that down. Pull it along a bit. There we go. There we go. That's it. Bend the legs out a bit. Right, put it back under there. Solder it in. Make sure that's joined. That's lovely. Just this one here. That's good. Snip the legs off. There we go. Right, let's have a look at, there's another resistor in here, I'm sure there is. Let's see what value that is. Because if I'm doing this, I may as well fucking do it a lot. The other resistor is there and there. So let's pull that fucker and have a look. See what value it is. Sucker's getting a bit gummed up. There we go. That's it. That's there. Now let's get this one out. I'm glad I never lost that one because can't see the first fucking digit on the cap of that. I think it's brown, orange, brown. Can't see the first fucking digit on that one. That's fucking helpful, isn't it? Let's see what it reads. Can't see the fucking code on it. me. There we go. $13K. The problem is, I can't see the first fucking digit. Let's have a look at my magnifier. Get my magnifying glass. Need to tie this bench up in a bit. Give me magnifying glass a clean. Right, let's have another shufty to see what it fucking work out what it is. Brown, black, orange. Brown, black, orange. Bear with me while I get one out of stock. Right, we've got us a brand new 10k resistor. Let's see if it measures 10k or as near as damn it. Let's see. This is basically a brand new amp, everything in it's been replaced. Let's see what we get here. Yep. 9.7k, that'll do. So as near as damn it as to 10k. Clean the ends, because all these components have been sat for a good few years. A lot of them were bought a long time ago, not by me. They were bought by Mike, because that's who I got them off. And although he keeps his hand in, he tends not to do a lot nowadays. Knows his stuff though, definitely, without a shadow of a doubt. The guy knows more than I ever will, that's for sure. Let's bend these down. Nice shiny lead out wires. Ooh, that's going to be fucking... Ooh, that's going to be fucking tricky, get that in there. Yeah, that's going to be tricky. Definitely. This is where you wish that you had nice, thin, slender fingers and not big fat sausages like mine. Try using these circlip pliers. I only need to get it in. It should basically fall in, because the holes are pretty big, so it shouldn't have any problem. Put them a bit closer together. There we go. Oops. I don't want to crush it. And I don't want to do it the dirty way either by soldering it to the bottom of the board. No, we're in. No, we're not. One side's in. Lift that back out. Bend that slightly over. One side in. Yep, we're in. We're where we want to be. Pull that through. There we go. Bend them over. Apart from the transformers, this is to all intents and purposes a brand new amp. Apart from the pots, apart from the two controls and the transformers, and the valves, it's basically a brand new amp. It's had everything replaced. There we go. Everything's replaced. It's now in spec. As we like it to be. Let's get my cutters to just chop the fucking lead out wires off. Go. Yeah, if we can chop that one a bit lower. Neaten that up a bit. I don't want to risk it, maybe one day may bend. There we are. Calci white wood. What I'm going to do now, I'm just going to go over and go over all the tracks. There we go. Make sure everything's good. Just freshens everything up a bit, that's all. There we are. I'm only doing what I can reach, I mean, which is pretty much all of it. There we go. Let's do this one here. Nice and shiny. Now what we'll do, get the toothbrush on it, some IPA, give the board a clean. Clean off all the crap. I've got to put a power cord on this yet. I need to check, see if I can put a 3-core on it. It has got a transformer, so I don't see why not, but you never know. So there we go. Leave that to dry. Clean the top of the controls. I haven't got any switch cleaner unfortunately, so that feels loose. That is loose. Not loose on the board, I don't think. Not loose. It's not loose on the board. It's loose in there, so that one's not. Right. Let's see if we can get the knobs off too. They actually just push on these knobs. There we go. Alright, so the volume off. The whole point of doing this was so I wouldn't have to take the knobs off. Can I get the grill out? Because I don't really want to take the amp out. No, I'm going to have to take the amp out. Yeah, the whole point of that was so I didn't have to take the amp out. Do it all with it on. Mind. Never mind. Shit happens. I think it's only 2 screws that hold the amp on anyway. One here. But I don't want that control flopping about like that. There should be plenty of room for me to manoeuvre the amp into a position so I can work on it. There we are. Not much amplifier there, is he, folks? And that's the tone control. And that was quite a bit loose, wasn't it? Let's get our pliers. Check the volume one, the on off on volume. Well, that wasn't as bad, but it was on its way. There we are. Right. Not much in there, is there, folks? You don't get a lot for your. Didn't get a lot for your money when you bought a Pt1 handygram, did you? And these screws are different lengths as well. No, they're not. I'll do a different lengths for a minute. Right. Get these wires from behind the circuit board. There we go. I want to get into that Bermuda in a bit. Yeah, we're back on Dansets in a bit, folks. Danset Bermuda today. Put this other one in. Drop the screwdriver a minute. If I can get the fucker in. The only problem with having big fat fucking fingers, you can put your fucking screws back in. That's your problem. Getting the fuckers in because your fucking fingers are so fat. Got it there. Bit of shit on my screwdriver. Don't want that falling into the circuit. Right. So what we need to look at next, it's just spot on. There we are. Now, I'm not going to go to the trouble of fucking trying to tie that up because there's not much fucking point. Right. Now let's take this off because we need to get the power cord out. Try and save the strain relief if we can, or if you want to call it that. And that's the power cord, which comes up to this side of the switch. Alright. Now I want to check this now because I want to see, let's turn it on. I want to see if the one side of the power cord goes to the chassis. If it does, I can't put a 3-core lead on it. If it doesn't, I can. And we're all tangled. We're tangled. Look at that. There we go. Yeah, because I want to get that Bermuda on here today because that guy's coming any day soon. Pick his stuff up, so. And yeah, I've got a real treat for you as well, folks, coming up in the next, within the next couple of weeks. Not going to tell you what it is, but I'm looking forward to getting into it, into them rather, now. So we want to go to, well, I'll turn the frigging meter on. Let's go to chassis ground. Yeah, we've got chassis ground there. Just check with the input. It's the input. Yep. That's your secondary in there. And this is all your secondary, this is all your primary, sorry, this is your primary in, this is all your secondary here. So that is circuit ground, and power lead live, power lead negative, yeah, power lead live, power lead negative, yeah, and that's your circuit ground, yeah. So we can put a 3-core power cable on this thing. We are good to go for a 3-core. And we've got these here, and we want to make sure that we do get the power cord on the right way around. So what I'm actually going to do, right, so there your power cord there your motor on that tag block, there your power cord. So what I need to do is buzz out that to make sure I connect them the right way, because we want right, let's get the sucker, suck it off. It's unblocking, I think. It's unblocking. Yeah. The O-ring's broke on it now, I've just noticed. Yeah, we can't really see through that. You can now. Yeah, I've just noticed the O-ring on my sucker broke. All that shit there, oh crap, all gets caught on it. Oh. Would I will put the fucking spring back in, when I always give the spring a bit of a stretch as well. I just think it improves the sucker a little bit. I don't want to come back up easy enough. So we've got something down there. Screw that in without that and see. that. Let's get a bit of oil. That might help, it might be a bit dry. Get a bit of oil on it. Well, that seems to go on a bit easier. There. Just needed a bit of oil. A bit dry. I must remember to put in capacitors away as well. There we go. Right. That's definitely working better. Yes. That's one done. Next one. Oh. This one's easier because it's on this side. Yeah. Can you see through that? Not quite. It's got it. Near enough. That's it. Right, it's ready for a new power cord. I just need to find one. So, rather than taking this off here, which I don't need to, there's nothing wrong with the wire, what I'm going to do, I'm going to buzz it out, see which side's live, and I'll go off the motor wires. It doesn't really matter, but it's how I like to do things. And I'll say that this one here is alive. Nope, that's neutral. That's live. And that's neutral. So basically, just put our new power cord up here and we're done. When I find one. I want to put a decent cord on it, and the cord used to come out of the front on this one. I want to do it so it comes out the back, so I want to route it through correctly, and that's the motor wires. Right, right. That isopropyl didn't really clean a great deal. Mind you, I think more shit come off the fucking toothbrush than what came off the fucking... Let's try it again. Where is the isopropyl? I bet I've knocked it on the fucking floor. Had a little tolerance there. So what we'll do, we'll empty a bit on there, and we'll get this other little brush here. paintbrushes. Got all this wax on the top of this. Get rid of that. This big lump of wax off it here. It could be argued that a lump of wax has come out of that transformer, but I don't think it has, because there's none on here, so I don't think it's out of that transformer. Just trying not to catch the wires. But I want that big lump of fucking wax off, it's horrible. There we are. There we go. It's not off that fucking transformer. Get that fucking horrible mess off it. I've not had my lunch yet. I'll think about that in a minute. Gone down that side of it. See, it won't smell too much when it comes on either now. There we go. Alright. That's as best as I can do. Get that bit off the fucking speaker grill. There we are. Alright. There's plenty of cooling in this because the fucking... Right. So we've got the valves to put back on. Now we've got loads of fucking bristles all over it. Go. That, to all intents and purposes, folks, is basically a fucking brand new amp, because it's been rebuilt. It's been rebuilt, it's been serviced. The only thing I've not been able to do is clean the switches, because I've got no switch cleaner left. You can do it with IPA, but it's getting it into the switches. I might try actually. I mean, a bit might go everywhere else, but there's little holes here, let's try and get a bit down there. There we go, there's a bit gone into there, something has gone in. Some of it has gone into there. Feels a bit better there actually. I felt a bit tight earlier. Right, let's try and get a bit into the volume. It would help if I could have got it upside down. There we are, some went into that. Get a bit more into that tone if I can. Oops. That's it. Yep. That feels good. I mean, more went on the fucking worktop than what it went into the fucking controls, but just see if I can bit of it went back into there. Give it a fucking wipe. There we go. Now let's try and find a power lead for me fucking. Try and find a power lead for it now. I got some power cords off Mick the other day, so, and I don't need them all for these jobs that I'm doing for Phil, so, because the last couple of record players I'm doing of his, they've got power cords on them, the correct ones. So, I mean, I'd like to put an IEC socket on it, and I've got one there, but I'm not going to. Right, so we're putting a new power cord on. Clip the end here so we're down to new copper or clean copper. And there we go. Clip the earth. Give all that a bit of a extra scrub. Should do. get out of the way. Just double check that's live, and yep, live there. Put that through. I don't tin them first because if you make them too thick they won't go through. So I tin them afterwards. Well, let's just solder them on. That's one on. Nice connection there. There we go. Now the earth. I need to find an earth clamp to clamp the earth. I don't think it will reach to down here. Yeah, it will. Yeah, it will. Oh, it's going in between the valves, I don't want that. Don't want it going in between the valves. So we're going to solder it to the top of the tone, back of the tone control. There you go. That's not going anywhere. Give that a bit of slack, there we go. Down. Push that down into there. There we go. Shove them over there. Right, where's the little thing there before with the screw? There's the cord clamp, I don't think that'll fit now. So I'll probably have to dig out a cord clamp for it, but that's plenty of slack there. It's not going to pull off or do anything like that. It's perfectly soldered on. The screw would be handy now at this point. Should be around here somewhere. Probably lost it. Can't understand why. Put it on the bench. Looks like it's done one. Well, there it is. Don't think this will fit, to be honest, but we'll try it. If it doesn't, then we'll find something that does. Screw there for a minute. Oh, we've clipped in. Plenty of slack. That's not going to fit that. It's not going to fit. I think I know what might, if I can find them. I've got these things here, but I don't think these will do it. These are a bit big. They're all the same fucking size though. No, that one's a bit smaller. Right. Now where's my little fucking hammer? I know it's not in the drawer. Because I don't think it's in the drawer, let me have a look. Yeah, it is. Just see if this goes. Oh, don't it going through the front. Ooh, just do it. It'll just do it. So I'll put that there. I actually want it, yeah, which is the way the other one came. Put it there. We've got plenty of room there. We're not going to dig into anything, though we're okay. Certainly not now. There we are. I'll do it. Because the lead will go back on itself. Yeah, it's not come through. Nope, that's good. There we are. Because the lead will go back on itself to. There'll be a little bit in the bottom anyway for it to thingy, and I'll secure it in the thing as well. In the side of the case as well. So all I need to do now is put the valves back in that and we're done. Anyway, that's for another job. And I'll put the screw back in there where the original cord was, not that it needs it, but I'll put it in anyway. In fact, I can use the original, if I can find it. There it is. I can use the original to just hold the motor wires. Use that for that. Put there. There we go. That's the motor wires clamped down. Right. Apart from the valves, this is ready to go back together. I'm happy with that. It turned out not bad. I haven't put a plug on it yet because I haven't got one for it. But I won't put the plug on until I put it back together because there's plenty of cord there because it comes out through the front. So, and even if it came out through the back, I'd only use that much. So I'd only use that much, so there'd still be plenty. But yeah, that's the new power cord fitting, and that is now ready. So I'll go and put that out of the way for now. So I'll put that out of the way. And that's the Portadyne amplifier done, except for the valves, which I've got in the other room. They're inside the case of the record player. They've got to be put back in. And this, yeah, this is now done. Yeah, the knobs are tight. Cleaned them the best I can because I've got no switch cleaner. Yeah, that's right, that's right. Nothing went there, that's right. Just double check my work. That's right. That resistor's right. And that resistor there is right, and that capacitor's right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 parts. Oh, 11, 12, 13. And a bit of, call it with the bits of wire, 15 parts. Make up this amplifier with the speaker, call it 15 parts. Make up the amplifier. It's not a lot really, that is it, folks, when you think of it. So basically, whatever this was doing before, it certainly won't do it now. Valve pins are all nice and clean as well. So we can put this down here for now. Put that down there for now, and I'll put that away after. I'll get the bench cleared off. I'll have a brew first. Get the bench cleared off. ready for the Bermuda to be put on and done. Right, thanks for watching, folks. Join me again when I put this thing back together and we hear a record on it for the first time. Don't know when that'll be, but as I had the amp out, I thought I may as well at least do the amp. Anyway, it's done now and it's working. I know it's working without even trying it, because they always do when I do them. Anyway, I'll catch you later, folks. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.